Yes, catch them unaware. Of course, I'll set the trap. I'll draw them in. You take their flank. Right, hit them from two sides. It's us or them! Cut them down!
What is up guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to play Irelia. If you are looking for a hypermobile fighter, then this champion might be the right pick for you. You will start with a Q as usual, so that is your single target dashing and damaging ability. And if you execute something with it, so if you last hit a minion for example, it is going to reset and it will also heal you. Your passive, whenever you damage an enemy champion or a minion with your abilities, then you get stacks of that passive, and each stack is going to give you bonus attack speed. But when this passive is fully stacked, then you also deal bonus damage with your auto attacks. So this passive is key when you're looking to fight enemy champions, so usually you try to stack this passive up with your Q. Since your Q resets when you kill a minion, you get a free stack and your Q is going to be ready once again. So on Irelia, always try to get this passive fully stacked when you're looking to trade. In case we play against the Vex, so it's going to be a very difficult matchup where we cannot just dash whenever we want to. So you have to be a bit more careful. Otherwise I will be dashing a lot just to get the passive stacked up, and that is the E right here. As you can see, if you hit the enemy champion, you're going to CC them and then you also apply a mark onto them. That mark basically means that when you Q to somebody who has a mark on them, your Q will reset even if it does not get the kill. So it just makes you even more mobile. And then we have the W that works as damage reduction, and you can also charge it to also deal increased damage. And as you can see right here, if you're looking to fight, get that passive fully stacked up, and then you can try to hit that E, guys. It can be a bit difficult to land, but the only way you can get better is that if you constantly practice, able to land that E on a mage mid lane, then you can perma gap close because your Q is going to reset when they have that mark on them. So you can just keep dashing to make sure that they are staying within melee range, and that allowed us to get a free kill. Also your Q also procs on hit, so that means that you get stuff like the Vamp Scepter, you're also going to heal. Lots of ARAM going on in the bot lane. I just waited for the refillable potion, might as well do that. Lose a couple minions, but it doesn't really matter since we got the kill. But it is a champion that's very difficult to master, like the mechanic. You have to know exactly the amount of damage you can deal with a Q, because if you Q to a minion and you don't last hit it, your Q will go on cooldown and then you lose all of your mobility. That right there is a way for you to land the E more easily, so you place the first one in front of the enemy champion, then the second one behind. And you can also make that E shorter. Previously it was possible to make it come out a lot faster, but now it's fixed, so can't really do that anymore. But same thing as usual. Try to stack up that Q, and also I like to let the opponent push in like the first wave or two. Because when you're playing a melee champion, especially in the mid lane, if you push it out, you have no way to engage or fight, because the opponent will be under the tower, or at least close to it, so you don't really have a way to trade with them. A lot better if your opponent push in and then you slowly, damage the minions. Or a couple of them are low HP, so you can like do a couple fast Qs to get the passive stacked up fast, then you try to go for it. CC them and then you just engage. Really important thing with your Q and your E is the fact that you can hide the animation of your E. Basically, while you're using your E, you're also dashing at the same time, so you hide the animation, make it harder for the opponent to detect. Constantly dash around and then use your E at the same time, so it makes it a lot easier to hit the opponent because they will not see it coming. And your W damage reduction is really OP, especially against assassins and champions with a lot of burst damage like the Vex. while you're channeling it, you cannot get cancelled out. So you can use it to get rid of the most or the highest damaging ability from the opponent. And then you're gonna win the fight guaranteed. All about that passive, you let the opponent push in early on in the game. You try to auto attack the minions to keep them at low HP levels. So when you Q to them, they're going to get one shot by one. And that's also how you can wave clear, like your W, if you just channel it, because the damage is going to increase, then you can hit the entire wave. And just follow your Qs to finish them off and push it out fast. Your ultimate is another way of you getting a mark onto the opponents. It also slows people, and it's a skill shot. You hit the opponent, they will also receive a mark, so that's another way of you resetting your Q. So you can either reset your Q by last hitting something with it, doesn't matter what it is, it can be minions, it can be monsters, or it can be enemy champions. Or you Q to targets who have marks on them, because they will also reset. Basically your E and your ultimate. But remember, your ultimate and your E, both AoE abilities, so you can hit multiple champions with it. Or all in a lot stronger. Luckily, she did not try to cancel that recall. First item, Blade of the Ruined King. That's like the strongest possible first item purchase you can make on this champion and a lot of other melee auto attack reliant champions. To sustain attack speed, damage, and everything you need, honestly. As soon as you finish this item, you should be able to fight most mid laners in the game. You know, if you're looking for an AD fighter that is highly mobile, so not only Yasuo, but something else that's somewhat similar, then Irelia can be a good choice. At the same time, she's also really strong against assassins. So if you're also looking for a pick that can do decent into them, then decent, I mean super strong against them, then Irelia is also good. This is basically the all-in I talked about with the ultimate. Trying to land that E first, then a dash in, then use the ultimate because that gives you another mark, so you can just keep dashing and keep resetting your Q. Even if they flash away, you will have another Q. And since your Q also heals you guys, have a wave, a low HP wave, you can just insta-Q the entire thing and heal back up. Remember, your W makes you immune to crowd control, so if you time it well, you will be able to nullify a lot of things and also decrease the incoming damage. Another good thing about your ultimate, not only the active but also the passive, which is very important. So you have cooldown on your Q and it will passively get decreased every single time you put a point into your ultimate. The late game, when your ultimate is fully maxed out, even if you accidentally miss a Q and it does not reset, it's still going to be on a very low cooldown, so it will be up. That is something they did, which basically makes this champion a lot easier to play in the later stages. So she's not as hard as she used to be previously, mechanical wise. So that's a good thing for people looking to pick up this champion. But it's definitely a champion where you can pick up a lot of solo kills with in the laning phase. Super high mobile, just dash around everywhere, make it really hard for the opponent to hit you with any type of skill shot. If you're not able to find kills in the mid lane, show it out and then just roam. Just show up and roam. Key thing as usual, as I said in the early game, let the opponent push in, not completely but slightly. The way with your side of the lane, slowly poke down the minions. When they're overextending, that's when you can quickly stack up their Q by last hitting the low HP minions that you set up previously. Stack up the Q passive, like the passive and the Q. With the Q by dashing around, and then you go all in. You have to become really good at landing those E's. You do not get that Q reset on the enemy champion.
Act, and the whole world will move.
And that W, it does have a decent high cooldown, even now in the mid game, so do not waste it. Save it for the most important stuff. Can go ahead and flank here.
Where they fell, freedom grew.
Actually, I think he might have flashed over something. Or he could have taken the plant or blast cone. A bit confusing, but yeah, it is what it is.
No one, unless they come for your home. Quiet.
So we can just go ahead and recall here. That is going to give us the Blade of the Ruined King. First core item. Makes your early game extremely strong.
There who made it, so long as it kills invaders.
And we are getting the mercs right here because they have lots of AP and they also have decent amount of CC as well.
I don't want her to see.
Everyone on that team has some sort of magic damage in their kit. There are no better boots to buy this game than mercs, but if you're playing against a AD heavy comp, then of course you get the armor boots. But these two boots are the only ones that you should be purchasing most of the time.
With what brought you. In this case,
Look at that slow coming out from that ultimate. Even though I missed my E, playing against an immobile champion and you are dead like I am, if you use that ultimate and they don't have flash up, they'll be forced to walk through it and then they just keep getting perma-slowed, so you can just auto-attack them to death. Especially when you have the Blade of the Ruined King. Push out for this tower here.
to live on your feet is not to
Accidentally missed the Q. You can see what happens. It goes on a pretty large cooldown. But that does not matter because we got the kill. Also, another thing you can use your W for is that when there's a full HP minion wave, like the moment you have your Blade of the Ruined King, your Q is going to one-shot the backline, so you don't need to like damage them before queuing to them.
We are the only
But melee minions, they will always be too tanky. So what you can do is that when you are trying to chase the opponent, you can do a quick W onto the minion wave, so you put them to low HP. That makes it so your Q is going to one-shot the entire thing.
we are
So you can also use the W to make you more mobile with the Q resets. Only do that if you are absolutely certain that you do not need the W when fighting. Fun time playing Irelia. The moment you have Blade of the Ruined King, it is showtime.
friendly.
Spreading
Caring.
players in the game. See, the way I play against the Vex here was that I tried to... He gets empowered auto attacks every single time I dash. So obviously a strong counter pick to mobile champions who rely a lot on dashes. Let the wave push in. Then I look for an all-in, even though she got to fear me, she had no way to disengage. So I waited for a mistake. Then I went all in. Also, your W damage reduction also works against the towers. So that's also very useful to know, is that when you are tanking a high damage tower shot coming in, your W also works against that. Fortunately, I ended up dying. Sucks a bit because I lost a shutdown, I think. Yeah, I think actually I gave away like, what, 800 gold or something, so that's not very good, but yeah, that happens. I like to limit test a lot on this champion, and you should be doing that as well when you're learning her out. Because that just allows her, or allows you to learn the champion a lot faster, especially if it is a difficult one. I like to roam a lot, especially as a mid laner. That is how you get to impact the map a lot. You are in the middle, so it's a lot easier for you to make plays top and mid or bot. But I like to roam bot lane most of the time because they're usually squishes and sometimes they mobile champions, in this case the Vilco, so it's a lot easier to get. I also invade, like when I show out the wave and then the opponent, I just invade. Bit unfortunate she randomly dodged that E, but you see our all-in is absolutely insane, so even if we miss a couple things, we are still an auto-attack reliant champion. Meaning that if you can just get within range, the opponent, most of the time you can just auto-attack them to death. That right there is the mobility I talked about. This is what makes this champion so fun to play. You can really make a lot of cool outplays. Similar to champions like the Yasuo, you know. So this can be a good secondary pick or maybe even primary pick if you're looking for a new high mobile AD fighter. And you can also build the crit heavy if you want to. But this build is a lot better. This is the best meta build there is right now. Because the problem this champion had previously is the fact that she did not have a mythic item that was good. There are a lot of average ones that you could just buy, like the shield bow or the bruiser mythic items, but she did not have a good one. Now she does. Later the Ruin King into the Wit's End, especially if you're playing against, you know, multiple AP champions, because that is going to make you a lot tankier, and then you go into the mythic item. Lots of ARAM going on around the map. I just try to like move in advance, so if I see the opponent, like the mid laner or the jungler being there, then I also try to be ready at the same time. I always try to roam even if nothing is happening. So like if the bot lane is fighting, I try to be there. Little bit more careful, so I don't just run in and die once again. He did die. I should have queued to the minions. Like, it's very important that you use the minions for mobility. They will be your main source of mobility in fights. Especially when you try to dive people, so you have to make sure that you're abusing them. This is the new mythic item, the best one on Irelia that you can buy, because on top of making you a lot more tanky, it also gives you damage and healing. And Irelia's passive already gives her lots of magic damage. And then you also deal a lot of physical damage, and then this item also amplifies the magic damage. It's really hard to try to itemize against this champion because there is so much damage. Mythic item makes you extremely tanky. Lots of armor and MR, and then you also get that damage aura or whatever it is for more damage, and you also get a little bit of healing, so this is the best mythic item you can buy on this champion. You can still buy other stuff like the shield bow, but this champion did not have anything that was like really good on her, so you could kind of just buy everything. But for now, this new Yeagerlol, whatever it's called, that is the best mythic item because it solves one of her issues, being not being tanky enough in team fights. This champion has a lot of damage. You also have the damage reduction with your W, but when that stuff is on cooldown, it was really easy to burst it down because you need to build a mix of carry and bruiser. In the early game, you mainly have carry items. You have Blade of the Ruined King, Wits End, right? So that leaves you pretty squishy. But with this mythic item here, the new item, you also become sort of a tank with a ton of damage and insane mobility. A man that is very good as a split pusher, so laning phase is over. Most of the time you just want to stay in the side lane. Try to force those 1 versus 1s and 1 versus 2s. You can go for these outplays if you are experienced on this champion, which can take lots of games, maybe over 100 games, depending on how fast you are learning and if you have experience with similar champions. But the good thing is that this champion is versatile, so you can play her mid and top. Meaning that you can actually get away with first picking her if you're playing mid, because most of the time they think that it's going to be Irelia top.
Never stop learning. There's always a form
So we got the Baron, good call from my team, and I can buy the mythic item, so I'll just go ahead and reset here, and then we get this, and that's a big spike. Lots of defensive stuff, so we're going to be extremely tanky while also having extreme damage. At this point, 1 versus 2 should be really easy to pull off. You can see how I'm trying to hit like multiple people with that ultimate, either with the E or the ultimate. And in this case I used the E early on so they could not see the first cast of it, right? Then I tried to time it with a Q, so I could dash to minions, so I could increase the range of my E, so I could Elcos, and he did not see that coming, because I used the first part of my E before I was visible. Lots of sneaky plays you can do on this champion, and they will end up rewarding you a lot. Start mastering the kit, and especially how to land those E's. It is a skill shot, the E and the ultimate, like any other skill shot, so the main thing here is that you become good at predicting how the opponent is going to dodge. Playing high elos, they start becoming a lot better at dodging stuff. They don't just dodge in the same direction over and over like people do in lower elos, so be able to adapt. And the only way you can do that is by just perma-spamming the skill shots and then just trying to learn their movements. But we got the main item, so we should start carrying the game here. We're already super far ahead and our teammates started doing well. They got stumped bot lane previously, but now it's fine. I think just because we have Heimerdinger and Lux, they should be pretty safe. Point and onwards. Almost level 16. As I said, when we get that last point into that ultimate, it is going to permanently reduce the cooldown of a Q by quite a lot, meaning that even if we miss the Q and do not get it to reset, it's still going to be on a super low cooldown thanks to the ability haste we have and the ultimate passive. Still pushing here, I'm not wasting any time mid lane because we want to focus down the object. You can also use your E inside your W. While you're channeling your W, your E also works. There are multiple ways where you can hide the animation. We got the kill, but we also gave away a shutdown. This is okay. Now we just need to focus down the Drake here. Unfortunately, we did not get the inhibitor, but at least the base is open bot side. That's why I always play for the objectives, not only for the kills. Because if you don't manage to close out the game when you have the lead, the opponent will get back into the game and then it's going to be a lot harder. So why make it harder for yourself? Just focus down the objectives. Kills are a way for you to get access to the objectives. So don't just chase a kill when you can get a tower for free or something. You have the Jack Show, super awesome tank item, and then you also get the Death Stance. That makes you even tankier. So pretty much impossible to kill when that item is finished. They have anti-burst on your W, and then you also have with the Death Stance, so 80 assassins, like it's going to be complete game over, even if they are ahead. When you get these items, there's no way they should be able to kill you. Unless you grief it, of course. Lots of ARAM going on in the mid lane. You can see it's happening a lot in my games as well. You cannot control the other players, so just do what you think is the best. Sometimes you can predict your teammates getting caught and then you can be there in advance. Other times you just know like what's better. So you just play towards that. Like my teammates had no reason to die mid, but they did anyways, sadly. Out us to pick up an easy kill. It is a champion that's very good at punishing immobile champions. Because if they get hit by 1E and stunned, it's over, because you have so many Qs that you can use, and even if they flash away, it is not going to be enough a lot of the times. That's a champion you can definitely consider picking into immobile mages. Just not a Vex unless you're very experienced in the matchup. And the champion, but against immobile mages, that's why this champion can do pretty well. But you can also pick her into 80 assassins. That's also another thing she does well against. Plus the anti-burst mechanic she has on W, and then that extreme mobility and sustain and just all-in potential. Like, yes, on this champion is nuts, so you have a bit of everything that can make it very hard for any assassin player. Re-engage here. Just being a bit too patient. It's good to be patient, but you don't have to be that all the time. Mets are doing well now. So that should be it. Now when you play this champion in team fights, you usually try to hit multiple people with the E or the ult. Dash around and try to focus down the carries. But that was how to play Irelia. Hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching and see y'all next time.